strategic tax planning session today, go to www.greenstreettrust.com. Pete Finch in the Finch Law Firm is located in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Pete also has the best advertisements, commercials, billboards, you name it. He is the Better Call Saul of Connecticut. If you've suffered any type of personal injury, slip and fall, a car accident, your mother-in-law decided to run you over with her car, your wife got angry one night, she decided to stab you, the Finch firm is for you. Pete has won legal battles all across the state of Connecticut, and he will go to war to get every dollar you deserve in compensation. All you have to do is remember, in a pinch, call Finch. Dynamic Human Performance is owned and operated by UConn legendary running back Andre Dixon. He trains boys and girls of all ages, all sports. He has a boot camp program, 7 days a week, 6 a.m. You want to get in shape, you go to Andre. He has an athletic development program where he trains boys and girls in the sport of their choice from the ground up, helps them to reach their full potential, be the best they can possibly be. Andre has sent boys and girls to college on scholarship for all different types of sports. He has a 5,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility in Hartford, Connecticut. So if you want to work with the best, go to www.dynamichumanperformance.com.
Bro,
Yes.
Dude, listen, you must have had a 90-minute massage before you recorded that, because that was so soothing and relaxing and not as rushed. You did great, bro.
I wanted to be like ASMR.
Yeah, it was. It really was. I mean, it
ASMR.
was. But there is something to be said about slowing it down. Especially
I want people to get the websites correct. And Maria Conlon yelled at me earlier for going too fast. She said that you're rushing through things and no one's going to remember anything and you're just wasting time. So you need to slow down, and there's no fire. We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay.
Did you hear about the fire at the circus?
I did not.
It was intense.
Oh, because it's in the tent. Yeah. I get it. I get it.
Hey, dad jokes, bro. I'm full of
dad jokes. I do get it. I do get that. So we were going to discuss a few topics before maybe we take some questions at the end.
Hey, I know you did. I don't want to interrupt you, but you did an intro, but you didn't, reintroduce Freshy Fresh.
I forgot. Laban Marsh, the king of. I'm sorry, it threw me all off.
I know. I didn't mean. I should have waited. I should have been.
No. I would have forgot. I wouldn't have introduced you at all. The king of real estate, Erie, Pennsylvania. Laban Marsh, Marsh Real Estate, and Fresh Nedvonne Young, entrepreneur, consultant extraordinaire, Freshfold Laundry Co. business owner. And he just, God, I think if we sent Fresh to Nassau, he would become an astronaut. He'd figure out how to do it.
100%.
He would. He'd figure out he'd be on the moon by now, or be to Mars.
Do you know? Did you watch any of that from Cape Canaveral? That launch to Mars, bro. Like it. Honestly, when
was it?
Was it this past weekend? I can't remember. It was during the week or the week. It was a morning, and I somehow caught it. And like, bro, it was impressive. It went off just like they wanted, and then the thing landed back on a pad no more than twice its size. Like, it was engineering wise, it was the most impressive thing I've ever watched. And they didn't make a really big deal out of it, except for the people who engineered it all were going crazy. But bro, it was impressive. So whatever they're doing down there, they got some smart people working it. So yeah, I would agree. Fresh could be right in there telling them how the boosters go and everything else. So it was amazing. But yeah, and Steve, I don't know if you'll share it, but I was just down this morning. I've got a new place coming on the market in East Mill Creek. We were going to rent it again. This is the one where, we tried to evict the tenant. She appealed the eviction.
I love that story.
Oh, well, it's one of those things about
Did
real
she
estate.
finally leave?
She moved out without us having to go and fight it. But before she just moved out, I decided I was going to refinance it. And then the bank wanted all the things that they want from you. So I said, you know what? She moved out. I'm going to do the renovations that I needed to do. And it's going to go on the market tomorrow in East Mill Creek. But, it's like I wanted to get it done. So I had to go down there, clean up some leaves because we had snow and then that melted. So
we did.
For the aesthetic of it, I wanted to go down there and get it ready. But it brought up a couple of points that I wanted to bring up. And that is, this is in East Mill Creek. And when we bought this in 2013, right after the recession, right? The recession 08, 09, but like anything else, you don't feel the effects until a few years later.
Right.
And this was a bank-owned property that we acquired in 2013 for $140,000. And I remember we fixed it all up and we had it on what you would call hard money. Meg's father, put down the $140,000. We carried it, I think, at 10% interest rate at the time, which we didn't mind because we thought we were going to flip it. Yeah. And after we put about 15 into it, the bank came in and said, "Oh, it's worth 140." And I'm like, "What? We bought it for 140." And so, but here's the reason I'm bringing this up. We tried to refinance and it was all fixed up. But because we're in the middle of a recession, a lot of the property values had dropped. And so when a bank goes in to provide a loan, they're going to do an appraisal.
Yes.
And so you're at the mercy of what the market bears. And so if you've thought, and I know rates are a little bit higher, but for anybody that wants to peel back equity and you're looking at an appraisal right now, values have been so high lately. Yeah. Now is a good time to get good comparable data. And it just reminded me of that because there's been such a large appreciation in the last couple of years, especially because that home was probably worth 175 when we fixed it up. But because there were no comparable sales and anybody that had a home for 180 thought they might only get 150 or 160. So they waited. So there were not comparable sales. So I think a lot of times, depending on the market, when you're looking at refinancing and we knew, hey, this home is fixed up, really nice. Well, none of the comparable homes that were on the market had been recently remodeled. So the values were lower. And so I think that's something to consider when you're thinking about refinancing, depending on, everybody thinks about the interest rate. But if it's a great interest rate, but the values are low for whatever reason, then you might not get the money you wanted or expected. And so when you're financing, majority of the time, unless it's an income producing property where now they can give a value based on income, most of the time, and then they can give an appraisal based on cost or comparables, right? So there's an income approach, there's a cost approach, and then there is a comparable value approach. And that's what most people use. And so right now with values up in our area, if you're thinking about refinancing, now would be a good time because that value has increased enough to where you might have built enough equity to now take maybe a second mortgage out and go buy an investment property and other things that we've talked about before. But there's a lot of creative ways to get into financing. But at the end of the day, you are at the mercy to a certain extent with the market. And that's true with if your home has something unique, like a wind turbine. Like there was a home that I went down to look at to sell for somebody, and they had a 100-foot wind turbine tied into the grid for electric, but it was a 2-bedroom home. So there were you'd have to find a 2-bedroom home with a 100-foot wind turbine for the bank to make it appraisable. And the other thing, we have a local investor who has built 4 or 5 tree houses, which,
Oh, those are popular.
bro, super cool. But if you're gonna resell them, the only thing a bank can use is other tree houses to compare it to. Do you know, like, seriously? So,
Yeah.
I mean, and it's an investor, he plans to keep them. So he's gonna have to. I'm not sure how they finance them. There are some local banks that will do, they'll
Because they're
underwrite
big
it.
projects, right?
Yeah, I mean, and they're 150, 200,000 probably to build them, but they don't have a traditional foundation. You know what I
Correct.
mean? There's so many factors, and so when you have like an anomaly of property, it's more difficult to appraise. But if you have a vanilla property, meaning, hey, this 4-bed, 1.5 home that I'm listing in Mill Creek, East Mill Creek, the home next door sold for 300,000, I think last year. So I've got good comparable data. It should be a pretty reasonably fast sale, but it is something that people just don't always think about. And then to piggyback that would be the assessed value. So like this home is assessed at, I think, 164 and listing it for 275. So what happens is we've established for assessed value what's called a common level ratio. And in our area, because there hasn't been an entire county-wide reassessment, you can basically look at it and say, okay, if you pay 300,000 for a home, common level ratio, multiply it by 53%, it's going to put you right around that 165. So where it's assessed now, including the 53%, common level ratio, values out to about 300,000 or so, which tells me they probably won't adjust the assessment if somebody pays that. But you have school districts and townships that are struggling that will appeal when they see a sale substantially higher than the assessed value. And so that was a lot of information. It's like drinking from a fire hydrant sometimes, but those are the things that when I list and sell homes, I have to think of all of those different factors and try to educate the consumer about how all of that works. So yeah, excited to have another listing coming up in East Mill Creek.
Is the listing that's coming up something you're looking to sell or rent?
Yeah. No, we were going to rent it out.
So
and
you're not going to rent it anymore.
No, and here's the thing. Here's the other factor that I was talking to a seller. I went down to Corey on Monday, and it's a commercial property. And I told him, the biggest challenge right now for commercial, going back to the lending side, is this home on Bondi I have at 3.86% interest rate on a 15-year note. Okay. We bought it 12 years ago. So when we finally were able to refinance it in 2015, in 2020, interest rates were still low, which is why it adjusted to 3.86. But now in 2025, they're 15-year notes, amortized over 15 years, adjusted every 5 years. So now January, my rate would go from 3.8 on this to about 7.9, or I think she quoted me on a refinance at 6.3. But you're at the mercy of whatever the rate is that day. So that's the reason where I could either refinance it and lock it in for another 5 years, let it go, keep it locked into 5 years, but the payment doesn't adjust. I would just pay it off in 2 or 3 years instead of the 5. So I decided that it's better time to just list it. The market still needs inventory. It's a great little home in an awesome neighborhood close to Mill Creek schools. And I could rent it again and hold it for another 15, 10 years. But it's just one more thing that the signs were pointing to sell it now. So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
It'll be in the MLS tomorrow for anybody watching here locally.
Fresh, how has everything been going? You moved locations, which was great. In Chapel Hill, you got a better location. How has that been working out?
It's working out good. So it's working out good.
Is it easier for you to get there and get around?
Oh yeah, it's super easy. It's a cool. The location it's a great little location. It's kind of like somewhat tucked away, but it's in like a little kind of small shopping center, very accessible, which is going to be cool. It kind of has one road that leads right into UNC. Like you get on this one road, it goes right in. But both of them lead right into UNC, like from two different angles. And one is a big major road. The other location, it was off of the kind of expressway, if you will, but you would never know. This major road, it's tons of traffic that's just all the time. So in the process of ordering some those like kind of, they look like feather marketing materials, like outside of like, you go to a leasing office.
Yeah.
Banners.
What'd you say?
A banner that just,
What the banners are like? I thought the banners go across. It's more of a.
Oh, I know what you're saying. It's got a post with like a.
Yeah, it's a post.
Flag.
Yeah, with a little, and it looks like a feather. They got some look like a flag, some like a feather. But I think we'll do the feather ones that say, wash and fold, now available, coming, things like that. And then we probably will put a banner over the top of the laundry so they enter, but it's only one kind of thing there, in that particular complex where you can't really miss it. Once you go in there, you can't miss it. So it's good, very good location. I think we're really close to launching some things. I'm about to do a promotion for a comforter promotion.
I did see ad, I think, on Instagram, something you were a video on Instagram. I don't know if
I just did on Instagram. I just basically took my actual, and actually let me grab it real quick so you can see it. So I just took one of these. We have our door hangers.
Oh yeah.
So I took these door hangers and I basically made it into like an ad, slap some music to it, and just to start to get and start to increase some more posting. I got some other ideas I'm gonna do, but definitely about to put out, because now is a good time. Usually around the holidays, people got relatives and stuff coming over. They same people, so it's like wash your comforters. I'm trying to make sure I do it to where it makes sense. One of the things I think I'm gonna have to roll into it is just kind of making sure people do more than one comforter. Like it's like a minimum of 2, because we're gonna do like $25 a comforter. That still puts us at our kind of minimum. So for pickup and delivery, for like around, which is around $50, so that it makes sense. So any size comforter. So people, you can get 4 comforters done now for like $100, right? So just any size comforter, $25. So people just gonna, I foresee it, and people in the industry that I've talked to, they've run them and they do really well, because a lot of people don't really, they have the machines that have the capacity to wash them, or when they do wash them, they wash them. Some people haven't washed their comforters ever, right? That's reality.
Hey, but listen, and real quick, because it's important to wash it, but like there are serious sickness if you don't wash it or just get rid of it like in a couple of years. Because I read somewhere where there was a guy who just was having issues, and the doctor said to him, like, well, when was the last time you changed your comforter? He's like, 15 years, something ridiculous. And it's like you get dust mites and everything. Like it will. I mean, I could not believe it. And again, you want people washing them, not just buying new. But one thing I wanted to ask you, Fresh, is do you track your leads? Whether it's on Instagram with that post, like do you attach a little code to a coupon so that hey, that's from the door hanger, or that's from Instagram? Because a lot of times what I do is say, how did you hear about us? And then, a friend of mine, or, I got the door. Like a lot of people will do marketing, but then they don't track what they did at all, or even ask how people came to know about their business.
So yes, I track it, but
good.
I don't do as you just mentioned something that I didn't think about. I track it basically when it comes in, we ask, how did you hear about us? Right.
Perfect.
That's it. Yeah. But when you mentioned something where I believe you can do it, where like our QR codes, things like that, you could say,
and it'll show
like a hit that how many people clicked on the QR code. Like we do see how many people visit our site, so I can see that, but I don't know
how they got there.
Yeah, the uptick from here, like those things, I'm not sure.
Oh, they're definitely trackable where it comes from. It should be, you know what I mean, depending on what platform you use or whatever else. But that was always something where for our marketing dollars, I wanted to know, like, because it was back in my day, we're old enough where it was newspaper. And what would happen is we'd have sellers that would say, well, when's my house going to be in the newspaper? And the first thing I say is, do you subscribe to the newspaper? They're like, oh, no. I'm like, well, then why would I spend money on the newspaper if you don't even get it? Like,
you don't even get it. Yeah. But
yeah.
you
So
want
I
to be
think
in it.
it is important to know where they're coming from so you know where to allocate dollars. And that's the same thing I've thought about billboards. People that do billboards, I think, are just so self-serving. Like, I don't know. And that's where I said before, I want to do a billboard in January that says, we're not number one, you are.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
I think you need to hurry up and do that for somebody else. Take it.
Listen, no, because they all tell you they're number one, and
Dude,
nobody's saying.
just killing it with billboards. He's got billboards everywhere.
And I think that's the other thing. You can't do one billboard in a remote location and expect it to stick. Like if you're going to do a marketing campaign, you got to blast it and then track it. So
Trust and believe. You may not realize it. Somebody, your competitors, they know but just a matter of time before they either hear about your, this show or things like that. They hear like people, somebody's gonna hear it and they're gonna like,
oh yeah,
oh, he didn't,
sure.
That's a great idea.
I hope they do.
It's like one of those things. If you don't use it, you lose it. Somebody else is
That's
thinking.
True.
I think you should go ahead and pull a trigger on that thing, man. And I think it's a great idea. But I again, when you said it the one of the, I don't know, last or the one before, I was like, man, you need to jump on that. Like that's a
that's a great idea for sure.
And I think again, people have worked with agents who it's like, hey, they're, yes, they're out there in the marketplace, but they really didn't take care of my needs. And I think that's where it is. Like, obviously everybody wants to be number one, but I'd rather have my clients think I'm number one than the general public who doesn't even utilize my services. And again, I don't want to, but yeah, it's all about the client. It should be just like it's all about the kids in schools, right? But no, it really is. It's about the experience and making sure, because we said 86% of our business comes from word of mouth referrals. So there's nothing that is better than somebody referring you business because they have the trust and confidence. And so you want to take care of everyone. So I think that's where, doesn't matter where it comes from, you got to treat it the same. But at the same time, you better know where it comes from so you know how to continue to thank the clients that are referring you. And we go back, I've talked about that book. I think it's Tim Templeton, Referral of a Lifetime, where it's like you take your clients and A, B, C them. A is your top clients that refer you multiple things throughout the year. B client is somebody that may have used you. A C client maybe came through an open house or stopped in. And then the D client you delete because they're not feeding your business. But it's a good way to take your CRM and really focus on taking care of your top level clients, especially, and putting out those touches to them.
Yeah. So we were going to discuss a few topics that I was contacted about, and I thought were interesting questions about entrepreneurs and business owners. And, Laban, what qualities do you think every business owner or entrepreneur should possess? If you had to make a list of must qualities, the top.
I would say the absolute top number one for me is accountability. I mean, it is as little as doing what you say you're going to do. And I think it's number one because as easy as it seems to be the most difficult thing for most business owners because we either get too busy, we jam the schedule too tight. Yeah. And how many times have we talked about under promise and over deliver, man? And I'm telling you right now, if you over promise and under deliver, that is not expressing accountability at all or having, the integrity of your word. And I think as soon as people think, oh, well, he's never going to call me back. He said he would, but if you get into that habit of not doing what you say you're going to do, that's probably the easiest way to lose employees, to lose clients. So for me as an entrepreneur, I think number one is accountability. And then the other is the responsibility of your employees and your staff. Like if I don't have my stuff together, I have mouths to feed. And I think for me, especially if things get thin, whatever it is financially, like you have to be the one to step up and or have a plan and a game plan. And Coach Rapone always said, don't panic. We have a plan. I don't know if he ever conveyed what that backup plan was. But it's like, just make sure you have a plan and a backup plan. But to me, it's accountability and doing what you say you're going to do, and then having the discipline to follow through with it. That would be my answer for number one.
Fresh, what about you? What would you say for that? The must needs for every entrepreneur.
Man, I think it's so many ways we can go with this, man. To answer the question, you can go with, having a mentor, somebody who's done it before you, somebody to look after, somebody to give you some guidance. We can go with,
yes.
We can go with, where I'll lean to is, not being afraid of being an action taker, right? So I think just taking action is the first step, right? We talk about this all the time about, you don't lose, you learn, right? Laban
They're all lessons. They're all lessons.
So you get lessons. You don't have losses. You have lessons. And you either win or you learn. Or that's what you said, right? You either
win or learn.
You win or learn. So losses are lessons. I think just being an action taker and being optimistic. They need to go together hand in hand. So you need to take action, right? But when you take action and you have that first failure, you can't be down in the pits and be, down on yourself.
No.
Like, I just failed. And it's like, okay, what can I learn from this? And how can I take this and help this move me forward?
You got to respond.
That's when the optimism needs to kick in. Okay, well, this happened. And then now let me make this tweak and adjustment. And, the next go around is going to be good. Round 2 is going to be well. And I would look at it, just have a different perspective of like, maybe look at it like a fight, or look at it like a game where first quarter, second quarter, to the fourth quarter, or first half, second half, or round 1, round 2, like whatever way, something that lets you know that there's stages, is levels.
Right.
And the ultimate goal is mastery. That's when you are you're a high level entrepreneur.
You're an expert. Yeah.
Mastery. And that means your knowledge is hit, your wallet is hitting where it needs to hit, like everything is clicking. You've reached the things you need to reach, and that's where you reach mastery. So I think that should be a good goal.
And can I interject real quick? Because I think that's so true as far as, getting to that mastery level. And earlier on when you were talking too, it's like there's that level of humility. Like, you have to have the confidence, but when you talk, and I do Tai Chi, and if you talk to anybody in Tai Chi that's been doing it 50 years, none of these Tai Chi instructors are going to say, hey, I'm a master, I'm the best, you better listen to me. They will tell you, just like Coach Sanford, I have a lot to learn. Like, even in mastery, we have so much to learn. And as soon as you think you have confidence that you know it all, you will be humbled. And that's where the Proverbs say, do not boast about tomorrow, for you know not what a day may bring. And I'm telling you right now, dude, like, it is very easy to get yourself in that mastery and now think I've got it figured out. So I agree with you, but also remain, I call that duality of confidence and humility, where you know that you're good at what you've done, you've accomplished it, but you still have things to learn, and keep your mind open and know what sounds ridiculous and where that source is coming from. Fresh, we've talked about that before, right? Taking advice from the proper sources. And a lot of times it's family or friends who are like, yeah, you probably don't want to start that business. And yet they have no clue. They've never taken a risk. So I think it's important, even in that mastery stage, to remain humble. And it's kind of that duality too, where you want to teach other people enough, and we go back to that only 2 to 3% of what you teach people, or I'm sorry, only 2 to 3% of the people you teach will actually put it into action. So just be transparent. Don't worry about somebody stealing your idea. Not that somebody won't take that, hey, we're not number one, you are. Yeah. But it is one of those things where I can put it out there, Fresh, and I know maybe one agent would pick that up and do it. But for the most part, they just don't do it. So I think, again, once you've gotten to that mastery level, which is so true, Fresh, it's just still important to seek advisors, bounce it off them and just make sure it sounds, applicable to what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go, because that approach, depending on where you're at in your entrepreneurial stages, might be too fast, too quick. Or it should have been like, hey, you should have been doing this a while ago, and now get that implemented and then let it stick. You know what I mean? You plant a seed in the ground and you're not going to see the fruits right away. You have to keep watering it. You have to give it sunlight, all that stuff. Be patient, let it, kind of marinate, and just keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing before you start seeing the progress. So,
yeah.
Good stuff.
So just to piggyback on that, I like that. So I want to kind of give a perspective on what you're saying. So I believe what you're saying is basically letting you know that you're close to mastery when you think that way. So the perspective of, I still have a lot to learn, that is letting you know that you are in the realm of mastery, because you know that it's still, you have to know. When if you feel that you're a master of something, you're not, right? Because you're already, you may know a lot, and you may operate at a high level, but you're content and thinking like, I have enough, right? The knowledge, you should never have enough knowledge, right? It should never be enough. It should always be it should always be some kind of, you should want to have a little bit more satiation or something. It should be something. I need a little bit more sustenance. I need a little bit more, right? I need a little bit. It should always be a little bit more. So I think the perspective of is that, hey, if I'm thinking, I still have ways to go. That's how you know you're close to mastery. And the thing is, in a way that you'll know that you're close to mastery, or you're getting in that direction, in my opinion, is the people around you will let you know, right? You'll have receipts. The people you've helped, the people, all of your referrals will come in. So they'll point to this person, Like, I liken this to like my father-in-law. People direct people to him. Well, hey, ask him. His name is Jarvis. Ask Jarvis. And then so he's humble. He might be like, oh no, I know all it is to know. He's very humble in it, and he always seeking new knowledge. But
you have to.
He's the go-to. Yeah, he's the go-to.
You ask somebody else, they can be like, no, he's a master. Like, he's a guy you go to for a number of things. But that's how I feel like I know he's at a mastery level, because he's at a point where everybody knows to go to him, but he's humble enough to say, I still have a ways to go.
Well, and I think that ties into the back end of any successful individual, usually finishes with philanthropy, right? And I think that's when you have that philanthropic mindset of giving of yourself, with also knowing I don't know everything, but I'm going to share with you what I do know and hope it helps.
Yeah, and give back.
I think that's vital. And for those, because I remember I was in a coaching group, because I volunteer coaching the pole vault and things. And one of the younger entrepreneurs in the group, he said, "Now, have you always done that, or did you just start volunteering when you freed up yourself by hiring people?" And it's like, no, I've always had a volunteer spirit. Now, I might not have been able to do as much as I can now, because I'm better positioned, but yet you have to. You're not all of a sudden going to start volunteering, just like you're not all of a sudden going to start tithing when you make more money. It's the action and the discipline to take that action, regardless of how big or small it is. And then it goes back to that Eisenhower's quadrant of priorities and urgent and important, things like that. And being able, again, to be disciplined enough to stick in the important and urgent categories. But yeah, I think that's so vital, Fresh. And you're right. I mean, when people know, hey, this is the go-to, and they only say they're the go-to because they're willing to share. Like the guy that thinks they know everything, people don't refer things to him because they don't share their information. They think they've got it all figured out. So there is a lot to be said for that when seeking advisors. And again, I think going back to word of mouth referrals, there's nothing more complimentary than a referral, because that conveys that people have trust and confidence in the service or products you provide. So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
exactly right.
You're going to go to him. Fresh. Several people have asked and wondered about becoming an entrepreneur and taking on the role of being that owner, being that boss. And is that a challenge? Is that something that has to be learned? Because as Laban said, you're responsible for numerous employees. You're going to have to hire, you're going to have to fire, you're going to have to counsel, you're going to have to be a psychologist almost. Is that something new to take on? Is that something that can be learned? What would you say to that?
Yes, I think it has to be learned. I think us entrepreneurs tend to have certain qualities. I won't say whether we're born with or we kind of grow up with. A lot of us are kind of, many of us are like misfits, in a sense, right? We're like, we go against the grain. We do things a little differently and we don't care. Like, again, I said this before, we talked about it. Like, I would say in the locker room, and I remember just from freshman year, and I stayed this way even in the locker room. Laban was different, right? He just did stuff different. He dressed different, and he didn't care, right?
Nope.
So it was the same with me, from whether it was the briefs or the boots or whatever, right? Like he didn't care. He's just
Roy Hopkins wearing shorts.
Yeah.
He did. He wore shorts all year round.
Yeah,
everywhere.
So those things, I think this is the deepest story behind Roy with the shorts. So you got to talk to him about it.
I know.
But
I know why.
Again, like me, it was just like who I was. Like I wouldn't acquiesce or apologize. I was just who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't care. Okay, it just didn't matter. So I think that's entrepreneurs. I would say you start there. They're okay with you criticizing them, and they're gonna find a way to get it done. And another good skill is just not willing to work past a no, right? I think those are some qualities that we kind of learn, and we're willing to work past a no. And we might have been the kids that kind of asked the parents over and over again, like, "Hey, can I get no?" All right, and then I got to a point where I wouldn't just keep asking like a nagging way. Kind of asking.
Negotiate. You're right,
yeah,
Steve. You're exactly right.
That's what you started doing. You started negotiating. Well, hey, I noticed you needed this. Hey, you having problems with this? And I was very handy. Like, hey, if I see you. This is messed up. If I fix your radio, can you do the dishes for me? Like, I didn't want to do or whatever.
Yeah.
That's how it would work. Hey, you do this, I'll do that for you. So we already started negotiating at a young age. Those are the skills that, yes, some things are learned, but you kind of had some of that stuff in you. And so I would say those are, yes, learned. Yes, some things are learned, but there's certain little nuances and qualities about you that you had as a kid, and you never abandoned them.
And listen, you're exactly right, Fresh. And last night I coached Lincoln's a fourth grader, and so I coached third and fourth grade boys basketball. And I mean, it's like herding cats. But what's wild is now not knowing any of them as second graders, now third graders. Like, I put these kids with a basketball, and you can just see who has confidence, who's been playing, and then that intuitive leadership qualities that, like, it doesn't matter who the coach or the parents are around. Like, kids will naturally, there's leaders and followers. And I do think you can learn to lead. But part of that leadership, there is that confidentiality, or I'm sorry, not confidentiality, but confidence duality of humble and yet still, like, some of these kids that are really confident are too confident. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, they never had a sibling to smack them around. So they're, you know what I mean? But there's some kids that are just good. They put their nose down, do what they're supposed to do. And I think, Fresh, to your point, it does all kind of come back to how you were raised, right? Because I can tell, like, sometimes when there's a kid who's an only child, or there's just different dynamics to where, I could have guessed that because, hey, they're the youngest of four boys and the youngest got beat up, and so they're super tough or resilient. There's the first child is overprotective and a little timid. And we all know the number 2 child is the wild one. So that's what I am. And they're usually the best of the family.
Correct, of course.
But, birth order and things like that. Are you a number 2, Fresh?
Yeah, I'm the number 2. Yeah, and the oldest boy too. So.
Oh, Steve, are you a 2? You have an older brother,
no,
right?
I'm the oldest.
Oh yeah. See, you're not as good as your younger brother. Probably.
Not even close. Nope. Not even close. Not even
Still
close.
holds true. Yeah, and listen, Mackenzie hates it because Drew's the second. And then Mackenzie's boyfriend, Joey, is the second child. And she's like, so you like Drew more than me? I'm like, no, it's just the second child is just better. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
But they're different. Yeah, they're different. And most oldest kids are more responsible. They like to mother the younger ones and things. So I do find birth order interesting. But there's some, like, put me in a room full of kids I've never met, and within a half hour to an hour, I will tell you, you know what I mean, a little bit about each of them, insecurities, confidences, different stuff. And what I love is kind of messing around, keeping it light, jocular, and letting these kids, you know what I mean? Because there was one kid, I want them all start with their toes on the line. And this dude's got like his heel on the line. I'm like, bro, toe on the line. He's like, well, I'm like, I don't mind negotiating. I'm one of the best negotiators in town. So whether it's your toe on the line or a real estate deal, bring it. And I always encourage even my kids to negotiate. Like you're saying, Fresh, like it is good to say no sometimes, but when you say no and they work for it, I can respect that. You know what I mean? Like, how bad do you want it? Let's go. Let's see. Talk to me. Give me a compelling reason that I should do that for you.
Absolutely. Talk me into it.
Yeah, and I think that's where like critical thinking and helping your kids, being able to answer questions on their toes and being honest, and then being able to follow that up with the discipline to act on whatever it is you said you're going to do to get that.
For sure. Hey, some interesting.
All right.
Go ahead. Steve.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just going to take a quick moment to mention our other sponsors. We have Julius Williams of the Trench Mob. They train offensive and defensive linemen in Decatur, Georgia. They compete in 5v5 tournaments and college showcase camps across the country. They were undefeated in every tournament they attended. Every college showcase camp, a member of the Trench Mob was offered a college scholarship. Julius has sent kids to schools like Florida, Florida State, Miami, Tennessee, Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, just to name a few. And then we have James Whitfield of Luther James Insurance. He spent the last 3 years learning the art of financial planning. He specializes in insurance, mainly life insurance. He will save you a boatload of money, and he will do so tax-free. He also provides EMTs, police officers, first responders with financial stability. He understands the stress that comes with retirement planning. How much am I going to need? For how long? Do I have enough? Because fear of the unknown is real. You can go to his website, lutherjamesinsurance.com. So Fresh, I had wanted to ask you, because you've been doing this now a year, how would you say your business look kind of changed, because you changed locations, but the biggest difference now than when you started, and it's going to be a year, would you say?
Well, I mean, I would say the jury's still out. I would say if you had the biggest, when you say the biggest difference of what's changed, it's a lot changed. I mean, my website has changed. Initially we had, it looked nice, but it was more dark. This one is like more bright and kind of more bubbly, and it I think, and it's kind of straight to the point, quick. It's not belaborsome, and then it also interacts with some of the other things that I have. Like, I've always had this site access to it. I just never used this particular one.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I was using another one that I paid for, and I did some other things, but then I don't, freaking WordPress kind of like deleted my site. So I had to pivot, which speaks to
exactly
the biggest thing that I think if I had to say it, it is just pivoting. So, because if you think about it, I made a few pivots already, and we're talking about less than a year. I pivoted from one location to another.
Yep.
Pivoted from certain website systems I had in place. I pivoted on how certain programs of subscriptions and things that we offer. So you got to pivot. When you see there's a need or there's something lacking, it's good to pivot. It's good to pivot. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing. It's just pivoting, being able to do that. And I've been able to pivot. That's been the biggest
thing. People don't always do that. They'll be stuck in their ways, and this is how I've always done things, and I don't want to change.
And that's a great point, Steve, because I talked to my daughter, Mackenzie, at one point, and I don't know if she'll get into my business or not, but one of the business that I was looking to acquire a few years back, the owner kept saying, well, the way Daddy did it, and I mean, she was a 70-year-old woman using the term daddy who had passed away quite a while ago. And it's like, I said to Mackenzie, I'm like, do not do anything in 20 years because you thought that's how grandma wanted it to be, or that's how grandma started it, or that's the way my dad did it, or my uncle. Like, make an educated guess in this time period, like what makes the most sense for you, and be bold and confident, seeking advisors to go do it. Because do not do something because that's the way my daddy always did it. It is the worst thing you can ever do in business, is do something because that's the way it's always been done. That just tells me you haven't thought through other processes or potential solutions to make it better. And it kind of goes back to the mastery thing where, like, if you think daddy was like the one who set it up and he knows all and nothing should change, then I mean, that's going to impede you on growth for sure, because it goes back to keep doing the same thing over again. That is insanity, thinking you're going to get a different result. So it is, but part of that is having the confidence to make those changes and then be willing to make a mistake. And to your point, Fresh, pivot. And I'm not saying you made a mistake, but when you see opportunities,
you recognized it.
When you are carrying the ball in the backfield and the play is supposed to go, and I make a cut back and score, there, who's going to say, hey, that you didn't run that right? It's like, bro, I scored, dude. What was the ultimate goal? I got to the end zone, and whether that's because I had to, make a cutback here that I didn't anticipate, and none of us talked about it, but I was smart enough to be intuitive to see the opening, and I took it, and the result is what? You're not happy with it? And that's the coaches that say, yeah, you didn't do it the way I wanted it done. It's like, because I did it faster and more efficient for less money.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? That's not the way we do it.
4 yards. Yeah.
So again, be careful of those people who think they're in the mastery stages and know exactly how it's done, because there are things that run really efficiently that can still be improved upon.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. And
improvement is big.
One of the things that I was reading about, a lot of entrepreneurs, they want to build. They want to build that empire. They want to expand. And, taking care of your first business, your second business, whatever. When is the right time to really look at and feel that you're at the point where you may be able to expand, to look to acquire another business or look to start another business? Because that seems to come up often.
You saying me, or they were asking the question just for them?
No, I'm asking you, but yeah, it's
me for them. Okay, so I would say yesterday, or like real talk yesterday, because what happens is we want the stars to align. We want it to be a new moon, all this other stuff. No, it's yesterday. So meaning like, okay, if you're supposed to start yesterday, all right, you're a day behind. Go ahead and start. Go ahead and get the ball rolling. And just start. The thing is start, like, do some research on it, start that, whether you want to start that LLC or do some of the things you need to do. Just start doing it.
Have it in place. Right.
Okay.
Start.
Yeah. And Fresh, Because you're right. Just start. But what it is people think I got to start with a physical brick or like you have to start the due diligence process. Run this through on paper and just like a mock-up. I mean, you know what I mean? It's you have to get the mindset right first before you start building. And everybody says, how do I start? Well, start reading the right books, start interviewing the right people. Like it's not necessarily create an LLC, it's get a true understanding so you can write a business plan that somebody, a 12-year-old kid can read and say, I would invest in that. Like break it down, keep it simple, but start with the due diligence and the research because you were exactly right there, Fresh. Everybody thinks, well, to start a business, I have to start a website or start some marketing campaign. It's like start by the process and understanding it all in your mind, putting it to paper, letting other people, share your ideas so that they can be criticized and worked out. But so often they think start it as like create an LLC. And it's like, oh man, you got a lot of work to do before that. Let's start looking at homes, investment properties so you can get an idea.
Yeah, I would say I definitely agree. And it depends on what industry you're in. And I think this is a skill that's not taught enough. What I'm about to say. And this is understanding industry, right? So, and again, I started picking this stuff up later. This is just kind of like trial and error learning. So understanding the difference between of what industry the business or whatever you're looking to start is in. Okay, if I want to fix and flip homes, all right, I'm in real estate. All right, but you're not only in real estate, right? Are you doing residential? You're doing like you need to understand your industry and then understand like what subset or whatever you're in that industry. All right, if you want to start a cleaning business, you're in a service-based business. You're in the service industry. Okay, so now you're providing a service. Okay, now you understand that if you are selling something and you don't have a brick and mortar. Guess what? You're going into e-commerce. Yeah. So you need to understand these industries and say, okay, and that helps you understand how to move forward because there are people, you won't be the first person to sell something. You won't be the first person to sell the product that you're selling, whether it's something for fitness, beauty, these things. And you can start from scratch knowing nothing about the business, understand, okay, you can just look, what are the top 5 selling, kind of categories? And it's usually like self-help, things to do with kind of increasing your health. So you just look at things like that, and that's from a like an e-commerce standpoint. From a service base, what are people always looking for? Like people need, service things in the trades. People always need a tradesman to do something that they can't do. You always need a plumber, electrician, HVAC person. Always will need it.
Huge.
You'll probably need them before you need a doctor, right? and believe it or not, a lot of them more than doctors in a short amount of time. So by the time a doctor is starting their residency, you start your own, electrician business or plumbing business or HVAC business, you're already making more than that doctor is making.
And you'll be booked out.
Yeah, and by the time that doctor finishes, because you're talking about you got the 4 years undergrad, the 3-4 years of medical
residency, medical school.
That's just a medical school, right? And then you got residency, which is another thing. So you're looking at almost 10 years that you can be a tradesman. You can literally be a tradesman in less than a year, right?
Yep, 6 months.
Be a tradesman in less than a year, and you could realistically see multiple 6 figures in between 3 and 5 years without easily. So again, understanding the industries and how they work and how to navigate it will give you a leg up on just like, hey, I make good food, right? So I'm just going to open a restaurant. You don't necessarily need to open a restaurant, right?
Right.
You might need to just start selling plates and see how that goes, right? You on Fridays you sell plates to XYZ, or you pop up and then you go from there and you build. So once you understand your industries, that can be so So it's fundamental. It should be the foundation in which you build stuff on, understanding the industry, and then you can take the industry by storm because you can know what people have done that have failed. You can know what people have done that have succeeded, and you can take that information and use it to your advantage.
Well, and one of the things I want to piggyback on that is what we're talking about a lot are ancillary businesses, right? So one of the things I wrote down is narrow your focus before you expand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really hone in on your bread and butter, what you're really good at. And then in doing so, look at either your expenses or your time and say, who am I paying the most, right? And can I start that and run that as a business? And a great example, we have a local investor. His name's Mark Troyer. He owned Troyer Farms, right? And they farm potatoes. So you would think, okay, this farmer has a potato farm. Well, he also owns a trucking company to transport the potatoes.
Yep.
He started a potato chip factory. He has a fertilizer company to fertilize the fields. I mean, he built like 5 or 6 businesses off of potato
off of one.
Multiple streams off of
right. It's all about ancillary businesses that serve your core business. And I remember, I think I even talked about that 22 immutable laws of marketing. And I remember thinking about Wendy's when how many years did they sell a Frosty that was just a chocolate Frosty?
Just
and
that
then all
one.
of a sudden they went in and started doing vanilla, and now they're doing a bunch of others. And Wendy's isn't going down, but some small businesses, they start trying to expand and they lose their core business because they started focusing too much on this shiny new object that they thought was going to make them a whole new stream of revenue, but they lost their core competency, right? So I think not that you have to be careful, but somebody like me with Squirrel is like, oh, that sounds like a good business to start. And then they just
you do have to be careful, though. You're right. No, you do. You do have to be careful.
I mean, because especially if you have success in one business and you think, oh, this will be easy. And then the next one has some things that you didn't do your due diligence and didn't ask the right questions or talk to the right people. And now what happens, and we see this a lot, where your core business is covering that failing business. And so you rob Peter to pay Paul. And now the whole thing, your great core business, because you tried to, kind of run off on a great idea that somebody had for you that you didn't really vet too well. And now the whole business comes down crumbling. So that's all I say about focusing on your core industry and then understanding either the pain points like you've talked about, Fresh, and how can I fill that? Is that a one-person job? Do I need a whole new third party to take care of this? Is there a way to team up with somebody? I mean, there's so many ways to start a business and get into a business, but it's important to understand your core business. And then you go back to where can I find paying customers? Those are two of the most important things to take care of, because there again is how you're going to be able to pay the bills, pay your people, and enjoy a life. So
being able to collaborate for sure.
This ties everything in, man. This ties everything in. So again, this ties into kind of what you've been asking from earlier. Like for one, you got to start. You got to start. You got to take action. You have to have accountability, right? One of the things Laban you mentioned, you have to be some integrity and accountability. And accountability. You got to do what you say you're going to do. You have to take action on these things. And once you do that and you get familiar with the industry you're going into, you can find out how to become what Laban's talking about, kind of funnel yourself to a niche. Now you have this niche or this niche that you say, okay, this is something that was lacking in the market is something I'm doing well. Or you take something that you have a history of, like this person, he probably grew up on potato farming and just was like, it was so boring, just potato. But then he was like, okay, well, how can I, what else can I do? Right. Because obviously, the way they treat the farmers in this country is crazy. So just imagine. So he's probably behind, most of the farmers are in debt, which is crazy to me. So let's just say he go from the potatoes and he's going to say, all right, I got this potato. I know all about this. What else can I do off of it? Now you could take the thing that you do well and how to kind of create off of it. He was like, okay, well, we could do some transportation. I could do chips. We can do,
fertilizers.
All the different things that you could do. So it's like, okay. And you could do that to the same business. Like from, again, I could take something simple like what I do from laundry. We could take laundry and not just do laundry, do dry cleaning, we can clean, we can do residential, we can do commercial, we can do government. Like it's different ways that you could branch off by still doing your core thing, which is what we provide laundry services, but now we just provide laundry services for the people. Same with Laban, right? We're brokerage. We provide as a brokerage, but the spinoffs for there. And I think you did mention that you guys kind of do this already. Like you can have, right? You are the broker. Meg's the finance person.
She's in mortgage.
Right. She does the mortgages and stuff. Hopefully somebody else is, and I think you mentioned somebody else does
I own a title company as well. Yeah. So I have a partner in the title company.
So a rental manager.
It's like
I have a full-time property manager. Yep.
So they got property management, mortgage, you got a mortgage company, title company, brokerage. Where they do, again, once you go brokerage, you got residential, you got commercial.
That's right. Property management.
In property management, and even within that, you have you could go office, you could go residential, commercial, you could go mixed use, you could go industrial. It's so many ways you could go with this, and I think you could just continue to go look for talent. Like if you want to go, you know what? Let's get some commercial talent in here. Just get somebody just to do the commercial, and that could be like, look, hey man, you bring somebody in that can kind of build it up. It's under your name. They want to do their own thing. They're very talented. You make a fair deal with them. That's how you started. You don't need to go, all right, we got to do it from the ground up. It's like I could take over. Or you could look at a smaller commercial company, which I think this is probably even a better one.
The merging,
commercial company, and say, hey, let's, somebody's older, they got a book of business, they're well known. Put that up under the Marsh umbrella and make it happen.
And I think that was where when we opened 18 years ago, I was 29 years old, and most brokers in town were in their 50s. And so they're now in their 70s, and there are a couple younger brokers, a couple children of brokers that have taken over the companies. But we realized there was a unique opportunity for us when we opened because there were not a lot of young brokers at the time. Not that we're old now, but you're right. It is important. And that's where, Marcus is a bit younger than me, taking, really running the reins with the property management. And even on commercial, like I handle a lot of our commercial stuff, which I enjoy. But yeah, it's something where because there's not as many transactions in commercial, we don't see a lot of young people though really gung-ho about it, because it's more to your point there, Fresh. It's a bit of a niche here in Erie because there's a couple big commercial brokers who, most people go to. So even get into that, we are positioned the best because we've, been around as a brokerage long enough and we can serve commercial clients. My thing, anytime you negotiate or you're talking to a client, like I work 7 days a week. It's our lifestyle personality. Most commercial guys are 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I mean, that's just the way it's kind of always been. They work banking hours. So that's an advantage on the commercial side that we provide, is that, you can get a hold of us on Saturday and Sunday, and we could be out showing homes, showing property. But again, I think the most important thing, and the guy that I went down to see on Monday, he's like, do you handle commercial? I said, I do. If it's beyond my scope, I have people I consult with or, whatever else, but I'm pretty confident in what we can handle. And that's important too, is to be humble enough to say, what you have is a little different than what I think I can help you with, but here's somebody who will knock it out of the park for you. We'll handle the compensation. Don't worry about that. But I think those are the important things, because as soon as you tell them you can do it and you disappoint them by not knowing, little innuendos about that aspect of the industry, now you just shot yourself in the foot and will never get a deal done again. So that goes back to that humility to say, hey, I don't know everything, but I know what it takes to get a commercial deal done. We'll market it and get it through the finish line for you. So, all really good stuff, man. Sorry, I don't think, Steve, we got to as many questions because we were just running off on.
No, it's okay. We weren't going to do questions. We weren't going to do questions. The last thing that I will ask, because Schumann wanted me to after our political show and our discussion there. College tuition is really, really high, and it benefits certain jobs. Schumann is convinced that a majority of people are going to become entrepreneurs and business owners. They're not going to want to work a regular job. They're going to want to own their own business. They're going to want the freedom of it, but they're also going to want the responsibility of it, the fruits of their labor. or he sees them getting into the trade industry. Do you disagree or agree with that statement?
So I'll take it. I mean, in regards to you're saying he thinks people are going to want to stick to a niche versus be in the trades,
He thinks that they're going to end up
the
starting a
sales,
business.
and
Yeah.
You think they're going to
sort
go
of
into
business.
trades and other things,
Or
See,
go into
come
the
entrepreneurs.
trades.
That's
Yeah.
what
and
he thinks.
it's interesting because having worked in the trades early in my career, I was instructed by these two brothers in Glastonbury, Connecticut. They really were very knowledgeable. And like, you need three legs to the stool. You need the sales, you need the labor, and then you need the finance and that understanding, right? At least those three, as far as a core. And the challenge I see a lot of skilled tradespeople have is that they're great at the trades, but they're terrible at business.
At the
And
other part.
they're either not good, they don't get their invoices out on time, they don't have any marketing plan whatsoever.
No.
And a lot of times it's because, hey, I'm the laborer. Well, who does your sales? Oh, well, I go on my sales calls. It's like, okay, well, who does your marketing? Oh, well, my wife posts stuff on Facebook. I mean,
we boost the post.
yeah, but I mean, it's just something where, again, understanding the opportunity for both to have your own business and those demands, and then being in the trades. I guess to me, I think you meld them both. Like, I would love to find a really good, handy tradesman. The challenge is they're good enough, they know how to bill people, and they can get themselves enough jobs. But when you combine forces, and now you have things in the pipeline, and again, you got to be careful because if you have one tradesperson, they can only be in one place at one time. Unless they can train somebody below them to do it as good, it starts to be, it gets hard to become replicable, or you know what I mean, to really expand. So I think that's where you got to be careful. But I kind of see a mixture that there's a need for trades, obviously, but the entrepreneur a lot of times needs to partner with these tradespeople, and that really is the best of both worlds, where the tradesperson feels like, hey, I've got somebody strong in marketing and sales that handles all this stuff, takes all my calls when I'm out on the job, measuring and cutting. And then he's out there selling the jobs for me, to where I come in and I don't have to worry about the sales or the bookkeeping, and he doesn't have to worry about hammering nails and cutting wood. So I think when you can, just like any other team, when you can bring strong, confident people together with humility to say, and the challenge with partnerships are that, hey, he's doing the sales, not sweating at all, and I'm out here 9 hours a week, and he's making more money than me. So you have to have clear dialogue, clear conversations,
transparency.
Yeah, and then that humility, because of the family, I pay others more than I receive because I think they're more important to the business. So those are the things that you have to be willing to do and recognize the sacrifices, whether it's the time. But there is a lot to be said for the salespeople who bring the business and keep the pipeline filled. The salespeople are the ones that keep everything going. So that's the old ABC: always be closing. Because if you don't have sales, I don't care how good you are at doing nothing.
Yeah.
Fresh, what about you? What do you think about that? Schumann was saying about business owners in the near future growing, and he obviously sees the trades becoming more popular because there's less and less of them, and he sees opportunities for especially high school graduates to get in and make that money you were talking about. And like you said, I mean, you can make six figures and learn a trade in 6 months to a year.
So this is not new for us, right? We talked about this before. So I always talk about it, and I bring it up often about how I feel the trades and the need. Like once these kids start understanding and wise up and go, they're gonna just do a comparative analysis. Very simple. Right. And my nephew, last year, my nephew a couple years ago, we had moved him down, lived with us, and got him finished high school and got him into the trades. He was the living example. His peers, he graduated high school, they have a program down here called it's a CTE program, Career Training Education.
Yeah, job training.
Not our CTE.
No,
Steve.
not that CTE, right?
They're very
Career
important.
training education. And long story short, he was in the program. He did an internship the summer they hired him. Then, now he was working, and at 18, he was doing such a good job. They wanted to put him in a truck, but the insurance said, well, if you put this 18-year-old in the truck, your insurance is going to skyrocket. They were just like, now then they switched it. Well, we can't they got to be at least 23 to be in the truck, right? To have their own truck, rather, not
correct
his own truck. So that was kind of like the proof is in the pudding that
that's how good he's doing.
School, and within 6 months, with overtime and everything, I think he was making like 45 grand at 18. Right?
Listen,
jumped right into it.
Yeah, but before, that's a great story, because I was sitting at my daughter's volleyball banquet, and a teacher who sat across from me, I actually coach her son in the pole vault, and he's power washed my house. He's super assertive. And she's like, yeah, he wants to buy a plow truck. And I'm like, hey, wait. I have a company truck with a plow on it.
Yeah.
So, and I have a few places. I've got an 11 unit on Harbor Creek that needs plowed. I said, if he's willing to do this, I'll run it through my property management. He can get his own accounts, do that sort of stuff. But then if I need him, because my brother Levi hits our offices, then he's available. But it's like, as soon as I know there's a young, assertive individual and I have resources that are going to help him out, boom. And listen, he didn't even have the truck in his possession before he already posted a picture under his entity on his Facebook page.
Once you gave him the green light, he was on it.
And listen, I met with him because I had to get the winter tires on it for him, so it's all ready to go. And when he came to pick it up, he's like, yeah, I just signed a contract with a guy for the rest of the season. And I'm like, dude. So, I mean, and I've come up with like a business name. I've checked the domain availability. It's like, I want to do Summit Outdoor Services. We're in Summit Township, and it's called SOS as an acronym. You know what I mean? Like emergency needed. So I have decent business ideas, but at the end of the day, I need people willing to implement them and be responsible, be accountable. And it's been great. So I and eventually whether he wants, I don't want to sell him the truck because I use it for the Bobcat and everything else, but it's something where, yes, if I can help this guy out and we cover liability, things like that, but he's assertive and wants to do it, and I know he appreciates it, man, that I feel is my role going forward as a business owner. If I can help people get started, man, others did it for me, and it's just awesome when people are assertive enough to want to do that. So it's working out. But you're right, Fresh.
That is awesome, Larry. I just want to I'll give you a little clap up for that. Like, that's big, man. You're making it happen like in real time. So you made it happen in real time, and you gave this kid an opportunity. I think the next step would be like, hey, put it on him to get the next truck. You could give him guidance.
Listen, bro, not only that, I'm looking at like, okay, if I can teach him how to work the Bobcat, we can start doing marshland services or marshland management, which I've already started an Instagram page. But it's like, this dude does power washing. So it's like, okay, well, do you do lawn service? Do you want to hire peers? I mean,
so much stuff you could do. You got a Bobcat. So this is things pop in my head. Just suggestions. If you did like small, like land clearing, lot clearing,
everyone needs that.
Those banks, people make crazy bank doing that.
Yeah. But, I told go ahead.
I'm about to say, look, but the wrap up, to finish back with the Schumann question, the school prices for schools is ridiculous. I was just looking, like, just to go to like some of these schools, it's just like,
unbelievable.
Nowadays, you're like, you're talking, most of these colleges now are 40+ grand to go to college.
Yeah. On the cheap end.
For some of these private schools, and definitely out of state tuition for some of these public schools, where you're looking at, now, again, that's a low number. Some of these schools are, and the smaller the school, a lot of times it's worse. You go to these like little like liberal arts colleges, it's like, it costs 60, 70 grand to go. You're like, what? Now they'll like, we give you some money and all this stuff. But at the same time, sometimes that money comes with like prerequisites. Hey, you got to maintain this space. So you got to do these things to maintain that. You don't do it, then it's like, okay, well, we're not covering that anymore. So now you got a $30,000 bill to cover, that 40 is covered. So you deal with that. I think the education piece, the way that they're looking at stuff, we're really in a conundrum. So higher education is
Big
super
time.
Lower education, you have administration trying to do away with the education. Yeah, Department of Ed. They're trying to get rid of that and move it over to the Department of Labor. But isn't this funny? What did they take out of schools over 20 years ago?
Prayer? Oh.
No, not just prayer. They took out the trades. They took out labor, stuff.
They did.
You took those things out, but you want to move it over there, and in the process you're doing it, you dismantle it. So it's a lot going into that part. But I think there is some legs of what he's saying. I think you're going to see young people are going to start to do the math. They're going to weigh the pros and the cons. I can be in debt at 40, 50, 60, 70 plus $1,000 a year, or I can go to trade school or get a certificate. And a lot of times you don't even need to go to trade school. I wish I could share this with you. So I found this the other day, but basically, and this kind of happened. I was looking up something else because one of the businesses I look to get in is plumbing, HVAC is where
yes, you mentioned that.
Acquire. So just so happened, I went to look at a van. So there was a van, and it was a utility van. It still had all of the drawers and all of that. Come to find out, it was a van that belonged to a plumbing company. Ended up meeting the owner of the plumbing company, went to go see this van, check this van out to test drive it. The guy was telling me, and I found this out, did the research prior. I just kind of look into stuff. I was like, where's this van come from? The van, and the person had put a post up. And the post was looking for young people interested. If you don't want to go in the military, you don't want to go to college, have an opportunity for you to be to come in as an apprentice making at least minimum $16 an hour. You be an apprentice, and literally so he had that posted on multiple platforms, and he's like, not a lot of people are jumping at it. But and he was telling me, he was like, look, and I was like, yeah, the trades is where it's at. I was like, man, and I'm telling him stuff I know that I'm not telling him something he doesn't know. Right. I'm like, man, these tradesmen, they could be making 6 figures within 3 years, no problem. Like, like multiple 6 figures, not just like, 100,000 and 1,000. It's like 215, 200 plus thousand in like 3 years. So, and he was like, yeah, one of the things he was he boasted about, he was very happy to say, he said, most of my young guys, under 27, all of them are homeowners. He said, all of them that own their own home. And that's telling you. So this guy, grabbing these guys, maybe 18, by the time these guys are 24, they own homes and they're doing well. So yes, it has legs. What he's saying, the trades are there, but people have to open their eyes, and people have to not, look down on them how we were kind of conditioned to look down.
Yeah, I don't understand. I never understood.
We've been conditioned that way. Think about it. It's like
we were
conditioned. We were told doctor, lawyer, and then they were like doctor, lawyer, policeman, fireman. Right? That's kind of what we were kind of conditioned to be. Right? We weren't. That's what it wasn't like. Be a
That's
plumber.
100% true.
Right? It wasn't like be a welder. And I just looked at this statistic earlier today. Just the government needs over the next 6 years. They need about 600,000 electricians and welders over the next 6 years. So that's telling they need 100. And they said it's not even really even possible. Right?
No,
it's possible if everybody's shifted, but the reality of it is the way that we're conditioned, most people are not going to do it. So it's like, and that's just for the government, and that is to maintain current equipment
needs. Right.
That is not new things.
Right.
That's only to maintain current.
Yeah.
So it has legs. If people are listening, they understand. Look, you can hop into the trades, you can shift careers and hop into the trades in 6 months. and really, literally, be doing certain things, man. So, and just the reality of it, man. And I try to encourage people, man. Like even some of our old teammates, man. Speaking to some people, it's like you hear some of the things, some of the stories you don't know. Like we don't know, and that's why it's very important that we check up on our brothers, man. We check up on them because some people have been struggling, going through some things, and we may not know that they're going through some things. And I would say, and you kind of hear, and someone, one of them told me like where they were, like what's the most they've ever made once they graduated. It's like, I've never made more than this amount. And I was like, really? And then I was just like, what? And it was not a high number, guys. And I'm just like, okay. And I was like, well, I know a couple things you can get into right off the bat that you can just kind of hop into with a little bit of time. We talk about basically take like a 4 to 6 week, kind of boot camp program. You can get into some of these things and start making more than what you've ever seen before already. So it's kind of one of those things, and a lot of these things guarantee job placement. You come under someone's apprentice in the trades, you're already on the job. You're working right now. And then only thing that's going to happen is you're just going to keep making more and more money as time goes on, because they just keep paying you more. You get paid more. Okay, you're past this stage. You can go do your own thing. You can be in your own truck. Now you got a higher number. So those are the kind of things that I would say, man. I mean to be like kind of long with it, but it is, yes, it has legs. There will be a shift to entrepreneurship and people moving into the trades, and I would also add tech. So there's so many opportunities in tech that people can hop into. Yeah. There's a lot of like entry-level tech stuff that are they're making like 70,000 plus off the rip. Just no experience. If you're talking about changing careers, just jump in feet first, and you find yourself like, oh, okay, now I'm doing this, and then within a year and a half to 2 years, you're also in the multiple six figures ballpark.
Well, and I think people think like, hey, I'm 30 or 40 and I haven't figured out what I love to do. It's like, well, then keep trying. Like, keep trying different things. But when you find what you love to do, like anybody, they always said, once find you love what you're doing, it's not really work.
It's not a job.
But there is an understanding of finances and what can create revenue and what do you do for top of mind awareness and marketing and all that sort of stuff. So you just have to have that awareness. And part of it, Fresh, unfortunately, is people are too afraid. They're too afraid to really take that leap. And so I think that's where partnerships and finding somebody to latch on to. If you're a tradesman, find somebody that's good in marketing and entrepreneurial. And if you're an entrepreneur, find a tradesman, because they can make you a boatload of money if you help guide them on how to run the business. So
find an expert
tons
in
of
something
opportunities.
you're not on.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And people got to pay attention to, I try to never lose that little bit of like kid that's in me, right?
Yeah, for sure. Peter Pan.
I try to keep that.
Grow up.
Those things like, all right, keep that little bit of kid, that little bit of, like even, late with the dad jokes, like those things are very important.
Yeah. In
addition to that, what's very important is paying attention to the things that you were good at. Mm-hmm. When you were young, because we went to school and we did things. We got conditioned. Hey, do this. Be, again, doctor, lawyer, do these things. You make more money doing these things. What people fail to realize that, all right, some people are very good with their hands, can take something apart and put it back together. Some people are very good at doing these things, and those are admirable things. Just because you were really good with your hands doesn't mean you were supposed to be an accountant. Maybe you were supposed to be a tradesman. Maybe you were supposed to be a mechanic. Maybe you're supposed to do these things. And we all know somebody that can just like, hey man, they can just see it. It's like, it's like they see like the code, like on like the
Matrix.
Like, they just know like, oh, and they just figure these things out. They can just do well with their hands. Sometimes you're not in the place you need to be, and if you're not happy, try the other thing, especially. There's opportunities, and you find yourself more fulfilled, and a lot of times you're gonna make more money in these trades where you're trying to up here. You got if you're an accountant, you got freaking 3 months of just just craziness, and then you're trying to get by doing other stuff to figure things out when you could have been working on cars, doing some, like detailing some things, upgrading things, putting on, slapping on lift kits. If you were a kid and you put a lift kit on a car and you were so excited you did it, you could be putting lift kits on. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with doing
endless opportunities.
Yeah, like,
and it's just taking that initiative to get your toe in the water and see how it feels. But a lot of time it's fear, like Steve says, fear of the unknown, right? In that ad, because that is what impedes a lot of people, is just not knowing what might come out. I think the biggest thing and why we love athletes is their backup plan is just to get back up. You know what I mean? Like that country
We
song.
overcome adversity.
That's all you need. If your backup plan is just to get back up, you'll be fine.
We overcome adversity.
Yeah.
All right, great.
I just thought of something. I
Steve
want to
trying to wrap up. Give it to us.
Yeah.
Good.
I want to be. I think you should be more curious. Your curiosity should overcome your fear. You should be more curious.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm more curious about.
Curious.
I'm more curious about what's there than to be afraid of what's there. I want to find out what's there. So if you're more curious than afraid, you'll be in a good position. So be more curious.
Unless it's of the dark. I'm afraid of the dark. I'm not going to be curious of the dark. But yeah, great job, guys. Great show. Big audience. And Nedvonne, Freshfold Laundry Co., Chapel Hill, North Carolina, new location. You can book online. You put your laundry out in a clear bag. They pick it up for you, wash, dry, and fold it within 48 hours. They also have an expedited service. They have an online subscription model, weekly, bi-weekly. They have deals for college students. All you college students in the area, get involved and definitely go to their website, which is, again, my-freshfold.com. Is that it? Laundry.com.
My-Freshfold Laundry,
yeah. My-freshfold.com.
Oh, not Freshfold Laundry, just
Freshfold. Yeah, it was my-freshfold.com. I got it right.
Yeah.
It only took.
I won't even share the other one. The other one is what you said. You combine.
It only took 10 times. I got it right.
My-freshfold.com.
Yeah, my-freshfold.com. Great job, guys.
Awesome stuff. Before you do, real quick, congratulations, Steve Cawley, on the award you received, and
yes,
greatly deserving of it. I call you the glue because you're bringing the alumni back together. So that was a great post you had.
Congrats,
man.
We're trying. We're working on it.
Congrats.
Hopefully it works out. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
So for the man himself, Nedvonne Young, the entrepreneur, Freshfold Laundry Co., and the king of real estate in Erie, Pennsylvania, Laban Marsh, I'm Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges.